Great day. I'm excited to see all your faces here today. And I'm going to try to make this class fun and interesting and for us to learn a lot, right? So today is orientation. So basically this is going to talk to you about what your next steps are in the business, your plan for the future, some of the mission of our company. Just going into a little bit more depth about, give you some more, clarity on what you're doing here today, okay? And so, some of you don't really know me or know my background, but, my background is social work. I've been a social worker for 20 years, and how I came to know this company is because I got tired of my job. You're working and your pay is capped. You're not making any more money. Was making the same money for years, and I needed more opportunity, and I was looking for something. And a friend of mine, well, my not friend, but a cousin of mine, told me about the business. And just like you all, someone came to you and told you about the business, right? And you showed up and you listened, right? So when I saw the company, our mission, how we help families, and most importantly, the compensation plan, I was sold. So ever since I've been here, we've, it's been a great experience. We're all here working towards basically the same goal, right? Well, we have different things we want to accomplish, but we're all here for financial independence and just to make a better life for ourselves, right? So we're going to move forward. So Pinnacle. So for you guys that don't know, we are kind of like, WFG has different teams, right? So kind of like a team sport, okay? So our team is called Pinnacle. So the head team is called Pinnacle. And if you're following Facebook or friends with any of us, you'll see that Eric Olson, and he's the head of Pinnacle, right? So we should be honored to be a part of Pinnacle because it's the #1 team in World Financial Group. We have the MVP team, so it's a huge honor. So if you're seeing that and it doesn't say World Financial Group, that's because we're under Pinnacle Leadership Development. And basically, that is what we're really doing here. We're developing leaders, right? And we're building leaders. And if you do that, if you build people, then the money will come, right? And so it's important that we remember that we are a part of Pinnacle Leadership Development. And so we're over 300 senior financial brokers, which every one of us we're going to make 305, right?
Absolutely.
306.
Yes.
So our history. So I'm sure you guys have sat through the presentation and know our history. But just to remind you, we are a part of Aegon, Aegon is our parent company, meaning they're one of the too big to fail companies, but we're too highly regulated to fail. Okay, so we're in a regulated industry, and Transamerica we're also owned by Transamerica, and of course Pinnacle Leadership Development. So that's a short section about our history. So we're going to talk about the cash flow quadrant, right? Because this is 4 ways that we can produce income. And a lot of people don't know this, right? I didn't know this prior to coming into this company about any of this and the different ways that you can make money. So pretty much we all start out as an employee. Basically, we exchange our time for money, right? And then, so you basically have a job and you show up every day, and if you don't work, you don't get paid. So that's pretty much an employee, right? And 5% of the wealth is coming from that population. That's not a lot, right? And I think that's the population that most of us are in.
Yes.
And so the next step after you're employee, you're self-employed. So that means like you're a hairstylist, or you're doing Uber, or you run a tax service, or anything that you still actually have to do the work to still get paid. So you're still exchanging your time for money, even though you're self-employed. But the good thing about being self-employed is that you still have you have in control of your time, and when you're self-employed. And so 95% of the population is still self-employed too. So the next step is becoming a business owner. And that's what we've done here by joining World Financial Group, right? We're still kind of in the self-employed phase because we still have to exchange our time to get our commission, right? But the goal is to once we really buy into this system and how it works and how it's built, for us to actually start making money and not having to do anything for it, which called overrides, right? Doing something and not having to do something and still get paid. So once you're a business owner, you're in the business of overrides, okay? And so basically you own a system, just like McDonald's or just like Starbucks or just like any other company, right? You own a system, and that system works and you get paid. So who wants to be a business owner?
We're all business owners.
Okay, it was a trick question. It was a trick question. I was making sure everybody was paying attention. And so then the last and final step, I want to be an investor, right? I want to build my wealth and start investing my money and letting my money work for me. That's the ultimate goal, right? Is to have the money that you, whatever money, that amount that you want, but have that money growing and working for you. Oh, thank you. So this is our system. Now, our system is very important. And I didn't really, sometimes when we start things and do things, we kind of want to do our own thing because of our own background or where we've been or what we've seen. But in WFG, the system is so important. Like literally, it's like a well-oiled machine that if you run it, you will succeed. And we've been seeing so many people succeed, so many levels of success. We have Daniel Fombo. He's an African man. He just promoted 7 SMDs at the same time and hit 700,000 in cash flow. And he's only been in the business 2 years. And that is what you call following the system and letting the system work for you. And so I just get excited when I see all the examples of success. And I know that if we just continue to work and put in the effort, it's going to pay off. And so we have a system in place, and it's for your success. So the first step is the interview, or also coming to one of our overviews here. So you come in, you see if you're a good fit for the company, and you join. And then the second step is you have to believe in what we do, right? So that means becoming a client. So that's the second step. We have to make sure that because you can't go out and represent our company if you don't even believe in the products. So that's the most important part of having the financial orientation, and is also getting yourself in order, because I was able to do that when I came here. The things that I learned, the concepts that I learned, I did not know. And I went to college, and I thought we all think we know everything, right? And when I came here, I was like, I don't know nothing about finances, not like I thought I did. And so by sitting down and doing your financial, your plan, your orientation, I implemented some of the things that I learned here, and I paid off some credit cards with the extra money I've earned, and I'm saving. So I'm doing a lot of things that I was not doing before I came here. So I believe in it and I practice it. So the business plan is your step 3. So I'm sure all of us have gone that step, right? You sat down. Basically, your business plan consists of creating your inventory, right? And knowing what your next steps are. So who's done their business plan?
Yes.
Have you done your list yet? No list yet? Okay. So step 3 is that you're supposed to do a business plan. And at that point, you're supposed to create your inventory. And then you're supposed to have your grand opening and open your business based on your business plan. So that's an important step, because without that step, you will not, we have a referral system in place. We have a system where if you do your business plan, you create your list, you're able to generate referrals based on that list, and you'll always have business, right? So I've been here for 2 years, and I have not run out of people to talk to. Like, I have not run out of any, so if you follow the system and you do your business plan, you'll have a good foundation. So the next step is step 4, which is your startup, right? And so that's otherwise known as your 7-day standard, right? So have you done your 7-day standard?
No.
Okay, and have you done your 7-day standard? Okay, so the 7-day standard, basically that's something you do when you first start, okay? So that's a part of going through the system. So whatever things you haven't done, I want you to write them down, because we need to make sure that they get done, because that's important, because this is a business of duplication, which is the last one. So we want to make sure that we're going through the system, learning it, so that we can teach other people that come in. So the startup is, we'll go a little bit more into it, but that's basically kind of like a probation period where there's certain steps that you have to take. You have to get your code number, you have to become a client, you have to collect your list, you have to go out and meet with your top 3, and then you start your licensing. So that's the order it goes in. And then of course, field training. Field training is, I think out of anything, is one of the most important parts in this step. Because number one, who wants to be running around waiting for someone to tell them what to do in this business?
No.
Nobody.
No.
So the faster you go out on your field training, the faster you become independent, and the faster you can teach the people that come in behind you. That's the goal. Like, I got tired of, when I was in field training, I got tired of calling my trainer, like, can you go on this appointment? I got tired of that. So I was like, bam, bam, what do I need to do? The faster I learn this stuff, the faster I can be out. And I was independent because I like my freedom. So I just, I'm an independent person. So I just did it quickly, and I became a field trainer, and now I train other people. So that's everybody's goal, right?
Yes.
We all want to be independent. And so the last step, duplication. So basically, like I said, this is another important one too, because you want to have something in place that you don't have to really monitor, right? Because you want to be able to duplicate yourself. The question is, how many people is telling your story, right? That's the question you're asking. How many people are going out on your team working and doing business and recruiting and selling the dream and the crusade? So you want to be able to duplicate yourself so that you will have a team of people doing everything that you're doing, right? Okay, so, and we want a team of independent agents, right, that are going out and helping families. So duplication, and the only way to duplicate is to follow the system.
Yeah.
And so everybody's in alignment, everybody's working together, everybody knows what they're supposed to do, there's no confusion, and so that's our system. Any questions about that? Okay. So we're gonna do a restaurant example.
Yes. Can you go over it again? Just kidding.
No, I'm not. You're on timeout. So the restaurant example. So if you haven't had a grand opening, and if you had, you can have another one. That's the great thing about this business. You can have as many grand openings as you want. You can have one every year and say it's your re-grand opening, right? And so the example talks about you being a business owner, having a restaurant, and you had a pre-grand opening. So you just spent all this money, and we know that a typical business, you could be spending $500 to $1 million to get a typical business off the ground, right? And so you spent all this money opening a restaurant or a store or whatever business it is. How would you invite everyone you know, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You would tell not only people you know, but you'd be telling everybody, because you just spent a lot of money, right? And you need your business to be successful. So it's the same thing here. Even though we only paid $100, like, this is a $1 billion company. Like, this company is a big deal. Like, when I see, it's a big deal. That's all I have to say. So it's a billion. I mean, we have so many companies that we partner with that are in, they've been around for hundreds of years, and we have, we're the financial services, one of the biggest industries. So we have to treat it like that. And so when we are telling people, we should be telling everybody about our business, right? The same concept. And so and people talk by word of mouth, right? Same thing when as in any business. When we want people to say, hey, Blessing, I know Blessing does that. She can help you with college plan. Or Patrick, Patrick does trust and wills. And Antonio, he's the legacy man. You need a legacy plan, hit up Antonio. So we want people to know us, right? But they're not going to know us if we don't tell them what we do, or if we don't shout it from the hilltops, and we don't care what they say. We have to tell everybody what we do so they know us. Because finally now people see, I had to step out of my social work box and go into the financial services box, because people knew me as the social worker, right? I was CPS. I took people's kids. That's what that's what they said. That's what I was known for, taking people's kids. That's what they say. So I I had to put that to the side and put on a different hat. And now finally people are, if what's happening on Facebook now is like, hey, do you know someone that does trust or wills? And they'll say Sharifa does, or do you know somebody that does life insurance? And they're tagging me. So I'm finally, after all this time, can you believe it? I'm finally branding myself in this field, and I'm excited about that. So we all have to do the same thing, because people don't know us in this light. So we have to make sure we're branding ourselves. So we can move on from that. Any questions about that?
Can you go over that one more time, please? No. Okay.
No. So this is just giving you a side-by-side example of a typical business and WFG. And I've always wanted to be a business owner. I've tried everything, selling purses, Kayani, like everything you can think of, I've tried it. Like, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just was never happy working at a job, right? And so I even looked into opening up a Wingstop and all these different things I've looked into. And so at the end of the day, you're going to see the comparison. You see Subway, basically, I just look at this. This part, how much it takes to start, right? And all the things that you have to do. You have to lease equipment, space, and look at your average income. After you don't even really make any money in a business, like a typical business like that, until years later, because you have to pay royalties. And look at all the benefits we have just being in World Financial Group, right? We don't have to worry about anything. We get to use this office space for free, right? Unless you rent an office, we have access to this office. I use it all the time to come and see my clients, and we get to host events. So if you guys want, we get to do a lot of things, and that's so awesome that we don't have to pay for it, and all we have to do is just build our business, right? So we have so many benefits here in World Financial Group versus a typical business. So we just basically have to take advantage of it, take advantage of the opportunity that we have, because WFG looks a lot less stressful than Subway. I'm gonna tell you that. So I'll take WFG any day. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a typical business, because we need those, right? We need these restaurants and these different businesses. But I'm just saying, just to be, because a lot of people say, well, oh, I don't want to, I want to open a real business. This is a real business. You know what I mean? Right. It is, absolutely. So then we can go next. Thank you. So I'm sure we all know the different companies that we are platinum providers for. These are our platinum providers. And just like I said, these companies have been around for hundreds of years, and so that's what we need to understand. And they actually fight for our business. They literally fight for WFG's business, because we're one of the only platforms. I mean, there's a few smaller companies, but we're the only major platform that's going out and selling all these products, right? So we're like evolutionizing this business. And so you should also familiarize yourself with these companies as well. But we don't do business with any company that's not top rated. So you have to be a top rated company for WFG to work with you. So these are some of the companies we work with. So when I first seen this, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Look at all the financial services that we provide. We do Legacy Shield, okay? So now that you guys are licensed, right, you do get a free Legacy Shield plan. You get a free will and trust and advance directive through Legacy Shield. So if you haven't taken advantage of that, I would take advantage of that. Then we have Debt Relief, Optima Tax Relief. So basically, that's the company we use for our to help our families that are in debt and owe back taxes. It's really simple. All you have to do is you just call them. You have to actually get signed up with them. You have to fill out a W-4, and then you can start referring business to them, and you get paid. It's really easy. Like, I had a friend, she consolidated about $10,000 in debt, and they sent me a check for $250. And all I did was give her name, her phone number, and her email address. And that's it. And I nothing else. So and you don't have to be licensed, to do that. Anybody can do that. Then you have healthcare, Liberty Share. You have boat, car insurance, umbrella and pet insurance. We get to build an agency, right? Who wants to be an agent and who wants to build an agency?
I'm building an agency.
Right. You don't want to be the lonely only. No. You want to have a team of people behind you and you want to be out there killing it. So we have the college savings fund, which so many people need. Like my son is 19 and I'm like, no, how come nobody ever told me about this? Like I look at him now, I'm like, wow, imagine what he could have had at age 19 if somebody would have come to me and say, hey, just open the, this is a way for you to save for him tax-free. So people need what we have, they do. And then we have Everest, our funeral concierge final expense. That one is a great one to have, because especially, when people are grieving and they've lost a loved one, they don't want to be running around looking for caskets and plots and making funeral arrangements. This is a concierge service. You just call a simple 1-800 number and they will take care of everything for you. Then you have your term with living benefits. So we know that people are getting sick more than they are dying, right? And so this takes care of that. If you get sick, you can pull money out and use it for your living expenses, your health care expenses. You have return of premium where whenever you decide you can get your premium back. You have guaranteed issue for people that can't get regular life insurance. You have your tax-free retirement. We all know about the IUL. We have our fixed index annuities. That means your personal pension plan. We have legacy planning. Business owners, we cater to business owners and long-term care. Now, what platform do you know that's doing all of this? I've literally never seen this. So, in WFG I has, but outside of WFG, what platform do you know that's doing this?
Exactly, none.
So I think we need to be proud of what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a big deal. Like, look how many ways that we can actually go out and help families, how many options we have. It's not like we're limited. We can, everybody needs at least one thing we have here. One thing. So, scenario of disaster. Yes.
It's a big one.
Yeah. So I think this has pretty much happened to everybody here.
Yes.
So basically what happens, the scenario of disaster, so when your new people come in and you recruit people, remember this. This is a big thing. If you don't tell them about this, this will kill their whole market, right? It'll just die. Because what happens is, usually when people come, they're excited. They're like, oh, I just joined this company and they do all these great things and you can make all this money. And, people just start talking and they really don't know what they're talking about, but just out of excitement. So they're enthusiastic, right? And then, so they're on the phone, they're talking and then it creates curiosity, right? So people get curious, like, well, what is it? And then they can't answer because they've had no training. They don't know anything about the company or what they stand for or anything. And so people start asking questions that you cannot answer. So what ends up is you answer wrong. And then not only do you answer wrong, but you start telling them too much information. You start throwing up on them. Well, they have this thing called the IUL, and I think that you can, you know what I'm saying? You start talking about things you have no idea about. Mm-hmm. And then they start jumping to conclusions and like, oh, well, that's just insurance. That's the worst thing that people can think about this company, I think. Mm-hmm. It's the worst thing because we do so much more than insurance.
Exactly.
That's one of the major things we do, but just to say, oh, that's just an insurance company. No, that's not all we are. And so then they're like, oh, well, I think they're like, they start saying, oh, I've heard of that before. And they really have no idea who we are and what we stand for. Right. And so at that point, they've lost interest. So you're going to die trying to get them to come to a BPM after that. They're going to be like, no, I'm okay. And, and then you just lost that person. So this is something that we all have to remember, especially when we're bringing new people into the business. We have to say, hey, I know you're excited, but because you're so new, let's go through some training first. And if people start asking you questions, then you have I'll give you my trainer's number, or you direct them to someone that does know the information. So this is something that we really do need to remember. Any questions about this? Any questions about that? Okay. So back to the 7-day standard that I mentioned in the system, and that's a part of step 4, which is the startup. Okay. And so the 7-day standard is, number one, when someone joins the team, they get a business code. So we all have a business code. Number two, the second step is to get a personal financial review, which we've talked about, right? And number three, we collect a list. So basically you're collecting your inventory. And number four, you meet with the top three. And so number four is really important because the top three is designed to make sure that you create support in your home, right? Because I think all of us here have a spouse or married. And so basically when you're coming to the office late at night, or you know what I'm saying, or you're out at this event and that event, or you have kids and you need support watching your kids, people need to know what you're doing, right? So when we go out and meet with the top three, the purpose is for the people in your circle, your support, to know where you are, what you're doing, and to give you the support that you need at home to be successful. So that's the purpose of meeting with the top three. And so every person that comes through the system, it starts with our company, needs to be going through the 7-day standard. Because number one, what the 7-day standard does also, it sets you apart from other people, right? So it proves, are you serious about this business? Because oftentimes people get excited, they start the business, and then you're putting more effort into it than they are. You'll notice that you want more for them than they want for themselves, right? And so this is how we separate the 80%ers and the 20%ers, right? Because you want to spend, it says you want to spend 80% of your time with the 20%ers, which are the people that's doing the most, right? And 20% with the 80%ers. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I'm still trying to get my mind around that. So, we have to think about this business like a car, right? Do you want to drive like a beat up bucket with broken windows, one hubcap missing? Is that the car we want to drive in this business? No. I'm talking about, I want that SUV Tesla that he showed me the other day.
The doors go up like this?
Yes, where the doors go up like this.
Doors.
There's a panel with a video screen all around it. That's the kind of car I want to drive. So that's the business I'm in, right? And so I'm driving my car, my Tesla. I'm speaking it into reality. Driving my Tesla, and what if one of the wheels, I'm driving, I get a flat tire? Do I that car that I worked so hard for, that beautiful Tesla that I worked so hard for, and just because one tire popped, I just give up and throw the whole car away? Would that make sense?
No.
Of course not. I fix that tire and keep moving. Same thing with the business. You have 4 tires, right, that need to be rolling all at the same time. All at the same time. You're to be building an agency. That means recruiting, going out talking to people. You're supposed to be attending trainings and big events. Because, like I said, the faster you train and learn, the faster you're independent and the faster you make more money. And field training. You have to be going out and seeing your families and getting your field training done and promoted and licensed. So we all want to get to the highest contract rate, right? So this car is running. All 4 wheels are running at the same time, right? You can't have a car with just one wheel. So it's important to remember this, that we got to keep this car going. So then, thank you. Next. Appreciate it. So this is our baseball example. So basically what this is saying is that oftentimes we go out in the field and we have these high expectations. We're like, oh, we're going to get a recruit. They're going to do an application. They're going to, we want the best outcome when we go see our families, right? And so sometimes it doesn't happen, right? So it's kind of like a baseball game. I'm not really that familiar with baseball, but I know in relation to the business, it started to make sense. So basically you're about to go to bat. So you're about to go out in the field, and we want to shoot for all 3, right? We want a home run. Every time you go out, hit the ball, of course you want a home run. But sometimes you only get to first base, right? That might be just referrals. That person might not be ready to do anything and you get referrals. But I just want you to know that the referrals are powerful because that's what keeps your business going. So remember to always ask for referrals, right? That's the least someone can do because you took your time out, your gas, your energy to come talk to them. The least they can do is give you 1 to 3 names of people that need your help. Then you go to second base, you get a client. Third base, you get a business partner. You get all three, you hit a home run. So sometimes, are you going to quit the game because you only got to second base, or are you going to go try again, right? So it's the same analogy. You just have to keep going. And you know, all of these are great to me, you know, but I want to hit home runs all the time too.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Namisha?
Yes.
Lamisha.
So we have Agent A versus Agent B. I love this example. I wish there was more of us, so we could show it. So I'll wait till she comes back.
Yes. Keep them wheels turning.
Let me lean up against the wall a little bit. So how's everybody doing today?
Great.
Fired up, right?
Yes.
It's 2020, perfect
Yes.
vision.
Perfect vision.
Yes.
Okay, I want to tell you guys a little quick story about my affirmations and my alignment. Okay, so if everybody's not doing affirmations, you have to start. Thank you,
Yes.
Antonio, because now I'm hooked on affirmations.
Oh, yeah.
So last night I got home and I was so tired because I worked late. And I've been reading my affirmations every night. And last night I laid down on the bed and guess what I didn't do? Read my affirmations. And I was like, oh, I gotta get up. Nope, I gotta get up. So I got out of bed, went and got them. I said, and I was pulling it out. I said, this is the only thing that's gonna keep me on track, my affirmations and God. So I got it, went, lay down, and my daughter's like, Mom, we didn't read the Bible yet. So I got the Bible and I opened it up to Proverbs chapter 3. And so I was reading the Bible and it said the same thing I just said.
Ooh.
It said the
That's
only thing,
powerful.
yes. I was like, I love it. The only thing that's gonna keep me on track is listening to God.
Mhm.
And Zeray was like so blown away. She was like, Mom, you just said that. Mom, you just said that. And I said, see, babe, I'm glad I'm showing her that example.
Yeah.
Like literally, the words that we speak and the things that come out of our mouth, they're so powerful. And so I just want to share that little story with you on an intermission.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
But we have to use that in the business too.
Yes.
We do. We have to get up every day and say our affirmations for the things that we want in this business and our lives, really.
Yeah.
So, so this is a great example. So we have Agent A versus Agent B. So basically, do you want to be an agent or build an agency? What this example is showing you is, because I know oftentimes people come into the business and they're like, oh, I just want to get my license.
Yes.
I don't want to do anything else. I just want to get my license. So that's Agent A. Agent A is just studying for their license. They're not really coming to the office. They're not really doing much, and that's okay because everybody's in a different place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's how you choose to do it, that's fine. But for Agent B, that's building an agency, what's happening is as they're studying and studying for their license, they're also building a team, right? And so what's happening is Agent A, basically this is showing Agent A as a senior associate and gotten a 55% contract versus when Agent A comes in at a 35%. So the difference is you have to make sure your recruits know how important it is to build an agency, get to their highest contract before they get licensed. That's a huge, because you don't want to be licensed at 35% and then you can't override nobody. That's crazy, right? You're at 35% and then you bring in somebody and they get to 55%. That's a waste. Not a waste. I'm sorry to say that, but it's good for them. But it's not good for you because you're building an agency and we want to get overrides. That's the point, right? So you want to make sure that when you come in and you let your agents know that they need to make sure they're building an agency, hitting their promotions before they get licensed. So this is our world-class compensation, okay? So this is training associate. So basically you're at a 30% contract, and if you collect an IUL, so basically how we calculate how you get paid is by your premium amount. So for example, we can use let me just do it over here to break it down for you guys, because I know everybody wants to get paid. So say you go out and you help somebody collect $200. And that, when I say help, that means they could do a term, they could do an IUL, they could do Everest. It doesn't matter. As long as whatever it equals $200, okay? So what you're gonna do, they're paying $200 a month. So you're gonna times that 200 by 20, not 24, by 12, okay? So that's 12 months, they're paying $200. So that's $2,400. That becomes your points. Points are used for promotions and your commission, okay? So you always have to hit a certain amount of points to get to your next promotion level, okay? So you get 2,400 points. So whatever contract you are, so if you're a training associate, that's 30%. So basically for helping someone put away $200 a month, you make $780 as a training associate. As a associate, that goes up to $1,080. Just by getting a higher contract, look how much money you made more by doing the same job. That's how important it is to get to the highest contract possible. Because we're all doing the same work. Anthony that just hit $500,000 a year is doing the same thing we are. We're just at a lower contract. So we all have to get to that higher contract, right? So does that make sense to everybody, how we get paid?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So now it makes it more easier for me to explain this. So as you can see, the levels, right? 45% is associate, marketing director is 62%, senior marketing director, which is our highest level, is 85%. And you can see the compensation for it. Now, fixed index annuities, who knows what that is? Okay, so a fixed index annuity is basically doing a rollover. Like if someone has an old 401k or an old IRA, Roth IRA, CDs, we roll over everything really, as long as it's qualified. And so basically the rollover compensation works where, say they roll over 250,000 points. The company will give us a percentage of that. So they'll give us, 6%, sometimes it'd be 5.4%, it just depends on what company we use. You multiply that, and then you get your points, and then you multiply by your commission, your percent, your contract level. So as we go on, we'll learn more about that. But you can see the possibilities, right, of how much income you can make. Like this is literally, that's why I'm quitting my job. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm quitting my job because it's crazy how we have unlimited income here, like unlimited income. And I believe we all can do this. Like, I believe that if we just
Do the work.
Yes,
Get out there
focus,
and do it.
focus, and do the work. Whatever contract you want to be at, you'll get it. Absolutely.
Fall in love with the activity.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is your action plan, okay? So you need to write this down because this is your action plan. These are your next steps. So the first thing you need to do, if you have not done that, you need to complete your personal financial review. Okay, that's important because you have to get your house in order to help other people's homes, right? Your foundation has to be solid. And number 2, you have to develop and profile your top 100 list. That is huge. You literally have to sit down with your trainer and you